On this week's edition of AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf, we're coming to you from the Pop Cassell Court here inside Bender Arena, as we'll take a look back at the victory over Navy. And Justin Perez will stop by to talk about what he hopes to do in the future working for an NBA team, and we'll look forward to the Eagles' road trip to Lewisburg against Bucknell. It all starts right now. Welcome into AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf, and we're outside the studio. We're here on the Bender Arena floor, a very familiar hardwood to you.
It's always good to be on the court, yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about the game against Navy. You guys came away with a win, a game that at one point you guys had a 13-point lead, saw that evaporate into a tie, but eventually came away with the win. That's been the case a couple times this year when you've had a lead in the second half and not been able to put it away. What was different against Navy?
Well, I mean, just our league in general. No one's going to go away. They're not going to stop fighting and competing. So I don't envision us blowing anybody out. So I think that's just a natural flow of a game. It's good for us to be in those situations. I thought it was good that it got close and we had to regain the lead. That's what happened up at Colgate. So you're going to have to do that multiple times throughout the year. So I was proud of the team that they were able to sort of fight through it.
And Ed DeCellis, anytime you go up against one of his teams, it's a tough go because, I mean, they throw a bunch of different defenses at you. It's not just, get comfortable against one thing, as they'll be switching a lot up.
Yeah, I mean, it's always different every possession down court. So you got to be looking for different things. It really tests your passing ability and whether you continue to cut and move. So I thought we did get stagnant at times, but we continue to try to probe and figure out how to get good shots against their defense, and we wound up getting enough to come away with the win.
Saeed had another good game, had 25 points. I know it was one thing you talked about a little bit after the game was that you guys specifically talked to him about maybe needing to push the tempo a little bit more than he even normally does against Navy because you don't want them to get back and get set on defense.
Yeah, well, you just want to get into your offense quickly, get moving. And I mean, Saeed's been terrific. I mean, he's trying to get everybody else involved, and he still winds up with 25 points and 30 points, and just shows what kind of player he is. But I thought he was great last night when it did get a little stagnant. He didn't look to force stuff. He continued to sort of move the ball, get other guys touches, and then he made a bunch of plays off the ball where he was cutting and moving and getting us good shots. So he just helps us in so many different ways. It's amazing.
Thorn on the side seems to be every time going up against Navy is the offensive rebounding, and Navy came away with 15 offensive rebounds, which is the most against you guys this season.
It was a lot. As 10 in the first half. I thought we did a slightly better job of it in the second half. I mean, we talked about it a ton in practice, but until you actually sort of go up against them and have to deal with it, you can't ever replicate it. So hopefully we learn and we improve upon it, and we're ready for the next game against them.
And you seem to match them in the physicality standpoint, physically. When you look at steals, you look at blocks, you look at a couple of those numbers: 8 steals, 8 blocks, quick hands. You had to have been pleased with what you saw. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but were you with what you saw?
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought we were active, and we were more active than we have been. But again, certain teams, I mean, that's something that they stress, and it's a strength of theirs, and we just got to do a better job of combating it. And that's every game. People are going to go after offensive rebounds. It's a big part of the game, so we got to do a better job of that going forward.
One of the things you guys did do a better job of is from the free throw line, especially with Saeed, 11 of 12 in that department. Has that been something that he has thought thoughtfully worked through and taken more shots in practice and come out and taken some extra shots just to try to get that part of his game down?
He's worked on his overall shooting a lot, and it's improved tremendously. So not just the foul shooting, but pull-ups, threes, everything. So he's a much better shooter than he was. There's still room for improvement, but also thinking he's getting fouled a lot, and just shooting a lot of shots always, helps.
Now, when you look at Sam Iorio, he had the 3 blocks, and Becton had the 3 steals. When you look at Sam, he, again, if you look at his stat line, didn't have any double figures in anything, but did just about everything out there on the floor and was really active.
Yeah, that's the type of player Sam is. It's like on any given night, he might score in a post, he may hit a bunch of threes, he may get some drives, he may throw some passes, get steals, blocks, defend the perimeter, defend the post. So he's a very versatile player. He helps you in multiple ways, and sort of each team and each night there's different challenges, and he's able to sort of rise to whatever challenge is presented.
Let's talk about Justin Perez a little bit. A guy that doesn't necessarily see a lot of time on the floor, but has meant a lot to this team.
Yeah, Justin is a terrific leader on the team. I think it speaks to just what kind of kid he is and how much respect he gets from the guys. For a guy that doesn't play almost at all, to have such an impact and to be a leader amongst these guys, I think says a lot about Justin, what kind of kid he is. He's not real vocal, but every day he's leading by example, and so when he does speak up, the guys he has their attention.
And he's a smart guy. He's not even going to need 4 years to finish up his degree.
He's an amazing student. He's he's excellent, and everything that he does at AU, whether it's on the court, in the classroom, whatever it is, he's been terrific.
And we'll hear from Justin as we continue from the court here at Bender Arena. AU Hoop Talk with Coach Mike Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf, rolls on.
Welcome to our sleepy little college town. You may have heard of us. Here we stand up for causes as naturally as we sit down for classes. We believe that knowledge, understanding, and discovery will make the world a better place, and that our contributions are only limited by our imaginations. Words, medals, and degrees don't make us who we are. Meaningful change does.
We are American.
And there's nothing we would rather be.
Welcome back to AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf, and we're now joined by Justin Perez. Justin, thanks for taking some time.
No problem, anytime.
So you walked on to the Eagles basketball team. Take us through that process.
Yeah, so I just really wanted to play basketball coming out of high school. Didn't really have any offers from D1 schools, had a D3 offer. And, Coach Raymond called me. He said that I might have an opportunity to play here, and I just wanted to take that head on.
And so then you came to campus, and did you meet with Mike or Scotty Greenman, or who was it? How did the process go from there?
My brother actually went to American University, the law LLM program here. Mm-hmm. So I came here with him, walked around campus, met with Greenman, and that whole feeling I got was it just felt like I could be here and I could have a place on this team.
So that really helped you, the fact that your brother went to AU, understand what AU is. You I'm sure came to DC a number of times to visit him, so you knew what the city was when you were getting into it.
Yeah, I was really familiar with the area. He helped walk me through all the spots around campus, just how diverse this area was, and then it just felt it wasn't that big of a step away from Miami where I lived.
Now you've been here. This is season number 3 for you.
Yeah.
You've been on the floor a few times, but not on the floor all that much. What is it that keeps you going? The drive that keeps you going day in and day out to come to practice, to go to all the games, to be a part of the team?
Yeah, so it's always been my dream to play college basketball, and then once I got here, playing for my teammates and my family, that's just like the biggest driving force, because I really want to do this for them, make them proud of me, and take them down this journey, because my dad never got to play college basketball. He played a little bit of high school basketball, but it just puts a smile every time he sees me on the court out here.
Now you've had your family has been very successful in music. Has that helped kind of guide you and give you that extra oomph because you've seen the success that they've been able to attain?
It's not the success, it's really the hard work ethic that both my parents put in and day out, the long hours. All of that just like pushes me to go to try to be successful at the next level.
Because some people that come from a pretty good background will rest on those laurels, but you're a guy that's going to graduate from American University in 3 years. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
And so when you think of that and when you put in all of that work, what does that mean to you when you sit back, and I guess you haven't really had a chance to reflect on it yet, it hasn't really happened yet, but when you sit back and think about how hard that's been and how quickly you've rushed through this?
It's been really surprising. I try not to think about it too much. I want to try to enjoy this year, but it's really a blessing that I could finish this quickly and be successful in all my courses. Both my parents my dad didn't graduate from college, and that's another reason. I want to strive for greatness in college. All my brothers and sisters have graduated from college, and hopefully I get to do it this year in front of them in 3 years, beat them all out.
There you go. Okay, so that's another thing. You get to beat them.
Yeah.
When you graduate from American University, what's next for you? What's the next goal that you have?
So I want to go to law school next year, right out the gate, and then after that go to a sports management school.
So when you look at law school, you go in, now law has crept in so much into front offices. It's always been a part of it, but now you're seeing lawyers run teams as opposed to, in the past you saw a lot of former players. Now lawyers are sitting right there at the table making the big time decisions. What has led you to think that that's something that you want to do?
So to be in the front office, having that degree in JD degree, it just gives you a different type of thinking. Some of the smartest people in the world are lawyers, and just the way they approach problems and are able to solve them quickly and efficiently. I think that's what's needed in front offices right now. Preparing for law school and all the work you do in law school also prepares you for the business side that you see in front offices in the NBA.
And the long hours that you have to put in. Everyone sees the games, right? Everyone sees what goes on, the glamour side of it, but not the part of having to get in really early, or maybe if you're doing baseball, having to go watch minor league teams in small cities, staying at hotels that maybe aren't the greatest. They're seeing staying at really nice hotels, doing big good things, and it's not all glamorous.
It's not at all. It's a lot of traveling, being away from people you love, but that's the life I really want to do, and I just love all the ins and outs of a front office job. Now
you play video games a lot, from what I understand. So what are some of your favorites? What are some of the ones that you really angle toward?
I love NBA 2K, MLB The Show, and Madden. There's the three sports games. A little bit of NHL, but not that much.
Not so much?
Yeah.
Now, is there a specific sport, obviously you play basketball, but is there a specific sport that if you had it to choose that you would want to go with as far as your career goes and angling toward being a general manager one day?
Definitely the NBA. I have this love for basketball that goes beyond almost anything, and definitely the NBA. Yeah.
And when you look at that, have you had a chance to get involved with, as far as when you look at the video game perspective, right? Nowadays you can pretty much run your own team.
Yeah.
Do you do that just for fun?
I absolutely do that. I have about 3 teams. I'm actually in a league with Marvin Bragg and Josh Alexander. We're doing a minor league, so we each have our own expansion team. And we're trying to, I'm trying to draft Zion this year. He's trying to draft RJ Barrett. And, we're just going through the years, doing old draft classes and just having a lot of fun doing that.
Now, who has bragging rights? How are your teams?
All our teams are awful this year, but I'm definitely going to have the bragging rights. I got 3 first-round picks, trying to, rebuild completely like the Sixers.
So success on the video side of things, you're hoping translates into success in the boardroom for an NBA team.
Yes, hopefully.
All right, Justin, thanks for taking some time.
Thank you.
Justin Perez right there. We'll be back with more on AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf.
Welcome to our sleepy little college town. You may have heard of us. Here we stand up for causes as naturally as we sit down for classes. We believe that knowledge, understanding, and discovery will make the world a better place, and that our contributions are only limited by our imaginations. Words, medals, and degrees don't make us who we are. Meaningful change does.
We are American.
And there's nothing we would rather be.
Welcome back to AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf. And as we're here on the courts at Bender Arena, let's jump into the next game that you guys have, and that's on the road against Bucknell, a Bison team that has won 7 of the last 8 regular season titles and just continue to play well. They have back-to-back NCAA tournament berths, and they're sitting at 2-1 now in conference play, but it's always tough going up against a Nathan Davis team.
They're a terrific program, led by 2 really good players that are seniors, Kimball McKenzie and Nate Sestina. So they got a lot of offensive weapons. Playing at their place is always difficult. So I think, but we, I like what we've been doing. I like our team. I like how we've been growing. So hopefully we'll be able to compete with them up there.
You mentioned Sestina in conference play in the 3 games so far. He is averaging 21 points, 10 rebounds, and shooting 60% from 3-point range. So he's pretty much doing everything right.
He's doing everything right. He's done that in the past. He just wasn't getting the minutes. But we know he's a handful. He can do, so many different things. So, it's going to stretch Gasparini a little bit. I think Mark has done well sort of guarding some of the perimeter posts that we've played this year. But Sestina, he's just a whole different animal. So it's going to be, again, a team effort, and everyone has to sort of do their part. And obviously, with Kimball McKenzie running around, that makes it even more difficult to, key on 1 or 2 guys.
Yeah, because, he's averaging almost 20 points a game in conference play, McKenzie.
Yeah. Well, he understands what goes into winning. He understands how hard you have to play, the consistency. Every minute counts, every defensive possession counts, every offensive possession counts. So guys that have won understand that. So we got to, try to match that as much as we can.
And they made some headlines. Bucknell did, finished 3rd in the Diamond Head Classic over there in Hawaii, which is a good tournament. What does it mean for a mid-major to go to a good tournament and beat a team like a UNLV, finish 3rd with some pretty good schools as part of it?
Yeah, no, I think that was great, publicity for the league. Just shows how good our league is, especially being on TV when everybody essentially is home for the holidays. A lot more people get to watch the games. But then they come back and they're, in a struggle, with Army. And, so I think it speaks to just how good our league is. Everybody's beating everybody. But they're a very good team, very good program. It'll be a huge test.
Indeed, and so the next game the Eagles have is on the road in Lewisburg against Bucknell, and then the game next week on the road against Lehigh, the Mountain Hawks. So a couple of tough road tests for the Eagles. For Coach, I'm Dan. That'll do it for this edition from Bender Arena for AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf.